Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Good to have you on board. Fun hour coming up as we're live in Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. In 15 minutes, we'll get into tonight's Major League Baseball card. Bottom of the hour, Matt Vasgersian joins us from MLB Network. We'll talk college football here to begin the hour. We head out to the Progressive guest line. Adam Rittenberg, nice enough to join us here on a Friday afternoon. He was just in Las Vegas for Big Ten Media Days. Adam, good afternoon. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. Great to be back from the desert, and I hope you're both doing well.
Back at you, and thanks for the time. Let's begin here with USC, and I'll tie in a tweet that you had that Lincoln Riley in the program wants to keep playing Notre Dame, but schools are, quote, in radically different situations, end of quote. Not a high win total this year, not a lot of hype with the Trojans. When you were out here in Las Vegas for Big Ten Media Days, did you find much optimism this year for USC?
I think within the program, there's quite a lot. Their big moves this offseason were not so much in the transfer portal, but very much in their front office, which all these major teams have now with a new general manager and Chad Bowden coming over from Notre Dame. Others that are in that role of kind of program overseer personnel. And so there's some things that are happening for the future that I think are really exciting. I think the question is, can USC take that next step on the field this fall after a very bizarre 7-6 season? They beat two SEC teams there in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium, but in between it was kind of a mess. They lost 4 one-score games on the road, not just to a really good team, or at least somewhat a good team like Michigan, but you're losing to Maryland. That was Maryland's only win in the Big Ten. They were very competitive at home against Penn State, and even for a little bit against Notre Dame, but ultimately fell short. And so they've got to play better away from home. They've got to turn some of those close losses into wins. And I asked Lincoln Riley about, the old Bobby Bowden adage, you have to lose close before you can win. And, he certainly subscribes to that, but understands that they have to continue to make strides defensively in terms of how they perform at the line of scrimmage. And then on offense, they have had pretty good numbers there, but can they continue to attack defenses and have a reasonable running game? Those are questions that I think a lot of people outside of the USC program have. But I would say internally, there certainly is optimism that they're not far away from having a much better wins total.
I talked to some Iowa fans, and they think they can have a pretty good season, actually be fun, worth a watch, and actually play decent offensive football. But 8-4 last year, and they get Indiana, Oregon, and Penn State at home. What do you think of the Hawkeyes?
Yeah, a team to absolutely watch for the playoff. I mean, I think they're so easily dismissed because of the offensive struggles, but you also have to look at how many games they've been winning, and they continue to win at a pretty good clip. And if they can, again, take that jump on offense, they were better last year. And Kirk Ferentz, their head coach, believes that they could be a lot better, especially at the quarterback position, bringing in a guy like Mark Gronowski from South Dakota State, who led them to an FCS national title, has more than 10,000 career passing yards. He's a grown man. I mean, he's there, to get better and ultimately help his chances to play in the NFL. And so they don't have to baby him. He's integrated well into the locker room. And I know Kirk is excited about his potential. You're working with second-year coordinator and Tim Lester. You can't take anything for granted, guys, but one thing that's fairly certain is that Iowa will be among the nation's best defenses and among the nation's best in the kicking game every single year. So you're not asking for the offense to be top 10 or top 15, but if they can be an adequate middle-of-the-pack offense, they can be in the playoff mix. And you touched on it, those big games at home, Iowa historically has beaten teams that have more talent than the Hawkeyes at Kinnick Stadium. So that would certainly apply to a game like Oregon and some of those others. So they're absolutely a team to watch this season.
No doubt. I'm intrigued by Iowa. I'm also intrigued by Washington. Last year, to nobody's surprise, they came back to earth a little bit after the unbelievable year that Penix and the entire team put together, making the national title game. And this year now, Damon Williams is going to be the man at quarterback here for Washington. Year 2 of Jed Fish. Williams only 19 years old, but I think he's going to electrify a lot of people who have never watched him before. What do you think about the Huskies this season?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, but I'm very intrigued to see what Damon can do, being the clear-cut starter right away. I thought Jed Fish, their head coach, did a smart thing late in the year and put Damon Williams in there against Oregon and against Louisville in bowl games. And even though they didn't win those games, he was quite productive, showed great accuracy, showed playmaking ability. And, overall, Jed surprised me. I didn't realize that Damon had played almost a quarter of the snaps by the end of the season because he got into some other contests. So I think there's great confidence in him. You have one of the league's better receivers in Denzel Boston, one of the league's best running backs in Jonah Coleman, and a defense that I think could get better under new coordinator Ryan Walters, who obviously has familiarity as a Big Ten head coach at Purdue, but also as a Big Ten defensive coordinator at Illinois. So and that's another team. You guys remember when Washington gets it going at home, that's one of the best home field advantages in all of college football, and having Oregon at home, Ohio State at home, Illinois at home. Those are big games that I think maybe you can't win all of them, but maybe win one or two of them. Suddenly Washington's a team we're talking about.
Very good. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. We briefly mentioned Wisconsin earlier, another year here with Luke Fickell, who obviously came to the program with super high expectations. I will submit that the schedule last year was daunting. And Adam, the schedule this year, they play Bama, Michigan, Oregon, and Indiana all on the road. They host Iowa, the Buckeyes, Washington, and Illinois. Not a lot of high expectations this year for the Badgers. I would think that automatically almost you kind of have to give this guy at least one more year beyond this, right? Because the schedule is so brutal this season.
Well, I think so. This is easily a team that could be better with a similar or maybe even worse record, although that would maybe be trouble for Luke. Again, Chris McIntosh is the athletic director who hired him. Chris is very much from the Barry Alvarez, the old Wisconsin guard. He went outside the family and did something bold to bring in Luke Fickell. So I think they're going to give him every possible chance to succeed as a coach who made the 14 playoff at Cincinnati, who had great success there, obviously comes from the Ohio State tree. And, in talking to Luke, I think there's a recognition that if they can get back to some of the things that made Wisconsin great year to year, but also just have a little bit more togetherness in the locker room than they've had in his first couple of years that he takes ownership for. I think that this could be a team that at least holds its own in some of these games, but there's so many games. You look at that schedule, guys, where they're going to be an underdog and in some cases a significant underdog. And not to reiterate too much of the same theme, but again, Wisconsin, when it's great, they don't lose at Camp Randall Stadium, so they need to make that place a tougher place to play. Maybe not for Ohio State, which will be a really difficult game, but Iowa, that's a winnable game. Illinois with Brett Bielema coming back and a good team. They'd love to spoil a season that Illinois has, maybe going to the college football playoff and send Brett Bielema home unhappy. So I think that's going to be really, really important. They almost beat Oregon last year on that field, and Oregon obviously won the conference. So they can still be a tough team at home, especially if they get their house in order a little bit on the offensive side with new coordinator Jeff Grimes coming in.
So you were there, and one tweet got my attention, but if you can describe what it was like all week, that they think they run college football, and I think they're right, that they won the last two national titles, but I thought the Big Ten and SEC were BFFs, and there's great relationship. And then it's like, well, we could deserve 4 auto bids, and we want the SEC to play 9 league games, and maybe this relationship isn't that great. And when you were talking to a couple, Petiti, he had to take a phone call. Sankey called him, and he took the phone call. So that's a wild tweet that you had and how that played out. But what is the relationship like now? And it looks like we're probably not going to expand the playoff in the next year.
Well, that's certainly a possibility. Here's the thing that people need to realize. Even though there's a disagreement about playoff model, the relationship between Tony Petiti and Greg Sankey is really strong. It's stronger than I can ever remember with two commissioners from the two behemoth leagues in the sport. Even though Tony certainly would love the SEC and Greg Sankey to support his playoff model with all the automatic qualifiers and the play-in weekend that he was very consistent to put out that message this week in Vegas. He still, has to work with Greg Sankey and talk about some of the big issues, and they very much bounce ideas off of one another. And this is the relationship that Tony wanted to create when he took this job, to work with the SEC instead of against the SEC. It's why the leagues have had 2 joint meetings. They'll likely meet again. Whether they get to an answer by the end of the calendar year and go forward united on a future playoff model remains to be seen. But like you said, if they don't, it'll remain a 12-team college football playoff, which we just introduced, by the way. And now that the seeding is straight seeding, I think that will be a positive change. it's amazing to me, given how hard it is to change anything in college football, that they changed the playoff format, and now they're already trying to change it again. That's pretty unusual, and it may lead to the status quo, which, again, I don't think is a bad thing for the sport.
Yeah, well said. In about a minute left here, which team do you think wins the conference this year?
If it's not Penn State, you got to really wonder if it'll ever happen. Penn State, if you look at those 4 teams that made the semifinals of the CFP, 3 of them lost a lot. Penn State, they lose Abdul Carter and a few others, but they bring back the core, including quarterback Drew Aller, of a really good team. And everything seems to be lined up. They get Oregon after a very easy stretch at home at night at Beaver Stadium. They can win that game. It's going to set up, that trip to Columbus later on. But you really have to ask, if it's not this year for Penn State, will it ever happen for James Franklin? He's very aware that he's got to start winning some of these big games.
Yep. Adam Rittenberg does a great job covering college football for ESPN and ESPN.com. Follow him on X. He is at ESPN Rittenberg. Great talking to you, Adam. Thanks so much for the time today. We appreciate that.
You bet, guys. Thanks for having me. Have a great weekend.
Yep, you too. Job. And he joined us here in the Progressive Guest Line.
Okay, so you said it during the break. What if Penn State does it? Then that's 3 years in a row.
3 in a row.
Yeah.
Well, then they can go scoreboard all day long.
Oh, my God. Then it also changes things.
Sure.
Like, we run the sport. Come on. You're SEC. You're 1-4. Or what is it? 1-5 the last 2 years in the playoffs.
Sure. Up next, we will discuss today's Major League Baseball card. He needs to be considered every time he pitches at home, much like the situation calls for tonight.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We'll get some best bets in Major League Baseball coming up in 15 minutes. Matt Vasgersian is going to join the program from MLB Network. We'll talk about the card right now. Right now, Brewers are playing the Marlins, and Miami's out to a 1-0 lead. Quantrill versus Peralta. This was a big number today for the Brewers. I get it. Peralta has 12 wins on the year. His numbers are really good. At home, 1.53 ERA. He's been dominant. Just doesn't have it today. Guys have been getting on base like every inning for Miami, so Miami hit him with a quick 1-0 lead. What do you make of this Phillies-Yankees game tonight? Walker takes on Warren here.
The stars are out, and there could be home run derby.
I agree.
Yep, I like the Yankees, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of bombs tonight. Judge has 4 home runs against Walker.
4 hits, all 4 home runs.
There you go. Also, what Schwarber and Harper are doing, they're on a nice run as well. So I would say, look at the total, Tim. How about that total? So I think it'll be a home run derby tonight in the Yankee game. But they should touch up Walker, who I don't like at all.
I would think so. He's actually better on the road than he is at home. But again, pitching in Philadelphia can be tough because that can be such a great environment for batters. And Warren's better at Yankee Stadium than he is on the road. But Judge, like you said, Chisholm also another guy against Walker, 7-15, small sample size, 3 doubles, 5 walks overall, but big number overall. But I'm with you. I think we're going to get a bunch of runs in that game. Here's the guy that I was talking about before the break. Later on tonight, Mets are playing the Giants. Holmes goes against Webb in this game. So Webb's last home start was all the way back on July 11th against the Dodgers. He was roughed up, 5+ innings, 6 hits, 6 earned, 2 home runs allowed. Before that start, Logan Webb pitched at least 6 innings and allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in every home start but 1. On the year, 10 starts at home, 2.23 ERA. The FIP, 2.37. He's actually been unlucky with the BABIP, batting average of balls in play at 328. All of his numbers are essentially elite. And then, Pauly, when you break it down and go, when he's at home at night, they're actually better. In 6 starts, the ERA is sub-2. Batting average against is 223. The whip is around 1. And again, every other number is basically phenomenal for Logan Webb. Against the Mets tonight, he's laying 135 in this game.
I got to do it on principle. I have to take it. Did it right before the break when they took out the Dodgers as well.
Yeah, they gave him some run support in that game.
When he's this price, have to take it.
In a spot like this against Holmes and the Mets, would you maybe look at Webb to record a win or just go screw it?
No.
Giants have an awesome bullpen.
Yep. I'm fine with $1.40.
Okay. Mm-hmm. The Mariners are playing the Angels tonight in Anaheim. This is Wu against Soriano. Good pitching matchup here. Wu in his splits, a 3.36 road ERA compared to 2.29 when he's at home. He's made here. This is fascinating. I think I bring this up every time that Wu starts. He's made 19 starts. He has recorded at least 18 outs in every single one of them. But his outs prop tonight is 18 and a half outs. So will he go 6 1/3 to get that 19th out? It's plus money. I don't think I can do it against this Anaheim offense. He's dynamite, but the Angels offense can, hit a lot of home runs, and it's kind of a tricky team. Soriano, by the way, his road ERA is 2.48. It's 5.65 when he's at home. 3 runs higher when he pitches here tonight. For what it's worth, Joe Adell against Wu, 3 for 3 with 2 home runs.
I also think it's big that the message you send to the clubhouse when you make a trade like that.
So do I.
And he's going to play tonight, Naylor. So I think that's big too, in an angle. Not going to say it's the reason they're going to win, but I also think it's big about, hey, they believe in us. Let's go out there and support the front office and management. And you got to like Wu anyways.
Well, yeah, you're right, Paul. Because
too,
don't you think that all the players were feeling really good with the news yesterday? They get the win, and then last night going back to the hotel, waking up today.
Yeah, and knowing they're not done. Crawford, 400 career against Soriano. Rodriguez, 450 career against Soriano. Chisholm, 460 against Walker. One I'll throw in there as well. 2 other games to mention. 2 good series. Penn State, very popular. Padres, also very popular. I believe 4 people have it from VSiN on the picks page.
Oh, is that right?
I like them as well. But this is, oh, man, I know. But Pavetta's been so damn good. 3-0 with a 0.57 ERA in his last 5 starts, 36 strikeouts, 6 walks, and he's going against batting practice Michaelis, 1-5 with an ERA of 7 and change. So it helps that at least the bats came alive last night. You got no help from Darvish as he put you behind the 8 ball. But they're popular. But I like the Padres. So I really like the Padres tonight. They're $1.30 on the road. Michaelis has been terrible. Finally, you saw some muscle from San Diego last night, scoring 7 runs. I think the Padres get it done on the road.
Yeah, Pavetta's been awesome.
Those are sick numbers.
I also can't get that Michaelis start out of my head where he gave up, 6 or 7 home runs to the Cubs. I get it. That's not going to happen every start. That's a rarity. And this Padres offense I don't love. However, Pavetta, he's a little bit better at home, but again, Petco is more pitcher-friendly than it is when he's going to be on the road all the time. But his recent form, he was a hell of a signing in the offseason for that team. They need Cease to be like him.
Right.
And they need Darvish to be right below them.
Yep.
But that's not happening.
Yep. I love the Red Sox tomorrow. Tomorrow, Crochet's $1.30 against Kershaw at home.
That's the number?
That's the number.
Wow.
Tonight, they're $1.13 at home. Ohtani is 500 career against Bayo, and he would set a home run Brewers.
Yeah, looks like Cheerio.
Damn.
Solo shot tied at 1 now.
I took your advice, Marla, because I know Peralta doesn't have it. I agree. He'd be the first Dodger in history to hit a home run 6 games in a row. He'd be the 35th player all time to do it. The record's 8.
Have you seen a number on him? They've been out for 12 hours now. I didn't even look at Ohtani tonight because usually they're plus 160 at this point.
Hold. Yep. So no opinion on the game tonight, but you got a lot of angles going on here, and the Dodgers in a funk. But
I will give you this on Bayo.
I think we'll see runs tonight.
Starters are 10-2 over their K prop last 12 games against the Dodgers.
Good.
Do anything for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
This is also a big series. Blue Jays remained red hot yesterday, blasted the Tigers. Tonight is Barrios against Montero. Barrios is a full run better on the road than he is at home. How about this? Starters are on a 13-3 overrun with K-props against the Tigers.
Okay.
Montero's ERA on the season, 4.28. At home, it's 3.89. The Blue Jays do average 3.85 runs per game on the road compared to 5.35 when they're at home. But this Tigers offense, what do they have? 13 runs or something like that in 7 games since the break?
Horrible. Yeah.
Springer against Montero. I'll bring this up. It's so small, but 3 for 3, 2 home runs, and a double off the guy.
Yeah. Got to keep playing the Blue Jays.
I think so,
This is
right?
total fade brigade with Detroit.
Yeah.
They got to prove it to you. I mean, the one win was Skubal, and it was 2-1.
Well, how many
on
times?
Sunday Night Baseball.
Paul, how many times do the Blue Jays have to be like plus money or a very
That's right.
small price, like in the last 2 months? Like, well, I guess the market's not buying them yet.
Yeah.
Well, it's proven out to be a huge mistake.
17 of 21 now they've won. Otani plus 220 to go deep at DraftKings. How about the Cubs-White Sox game? Again, this Hauser stuff. I can't believe this. They've won 5 straight starts, and he's 3-0 with a 1.65. This guy's been unbelievable.
The White Sox bats are actually alive and kicking. They've been really good since the break. I heard Mike Palm earlier today. I think he was on Money Moves. He gave out White Sox first 5 plus a half because I think it was plus 140 when he talked about it. Something like that. Don't quote. That could be off on that. But anyway, he gave up plus a half because Hauser's been so good. Now, Shote can go there and go 7 strong tonight like in 61 pitches, and the White Sox get nothing off of him, but the offense has been really, really good for this team.
Gore, K-prop over?
Nope.
No?
Can't do it.
Come on.
No, here's why.
Showcase?
Here's why.
Audition?
So, rocked in his first start after the break against the Padres, 2 1/3, 8 earned runs allowed. He has struck out 7 or more batters once in his last 7 starts. He's recorded fewer than 18 outs in 3 of his last 5 starts. I actually want to go to war with Zebby Matthews tonight, but I don't know how long he's going to pitch. Striking out 12-plus batters per 9 on the year. Nats can strike out with the best of them. He's only made 5 starts, so coming off an IL stint, and he's pitched 23 innings on the year. But this kid has awesome stuff and very high K potential. I haven't pulled the trigger yet, though.
Okay.
Anything else catch your eye?
Texas. Evaldi's been great. Braves stink. Come on. 9-3 last 12, averaging almost 6 runs per game.
Yep.
Evaldi's won 3 in a row. He's got an ERA of 0.48. $1.60 at home.
I think it's a good matchup for him.
I'm with you. Yep. Edge Boost, the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums. No outrageous fees when you go over your limit. No waiting on that wire. 100% approval for all betting deposits. Sign up today. EdgeBoost.bet. Code FTM. Deposit $25 and Edge Boost will match it. EdgeBoost.bet. Sean Deeb loves it. We do too. EdgeBoost.bet.
Another runner on for the Marlins. Yeah, Peralta doesn't have it today. It doesn't mean they're going to lose the game here, but he's just not sharp. Matt Vasgersian on the program coming up next. We'll get some best bets, betting angles from him coming up on tonight's schedule.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. We'll continue talking Major League Baseball here. Friend of the show, does a dynamite job on MLB Network. Matt Vasgersian joins us now on the Progressive Guest line. Matt, thanks for the time as always. How are you today?
Good, guys. Rainy here in the Northeast. We'll see if that plays a role in this Phillies-Yankees game's pretty fun tonight. There are a lot of good matchups tonight. Red Sox, Dodgers. I mean, this is a good night on the card.
It really is. How do you think that will impact that game? We kicked that around in the previous segment. Warren takes on Walker here. Pinstripers taking on the Phillies. I mean, for what it's worth, Aaron Judge again, 4 for 13 in his career against Walker. Small sample size, but all 4 hits have left the yard. It's a total of 10, which can seem a little bit daunting, but man, it feels like we're going to get fireworks in this game.
It does. The mitigating factor there is whenever there's thunder showers that prevent the timely start. This is pure superstition. There's no empirical background here at all here. I always feel like what should happen doesn't if the game is delayed by rain. It just messes up it. You know, changing dealers at a blackjack table, some of that inexplicable stuff that happens that messes you up. But I mean, having said that, like Will Warren has had all kinds of trouble against lefties. And we know that the lefty component in that Philly lineup matches. 859 OPS against lefties. 7 of the 11 homers he's given up been to lefties. The pitches that have been hit the hardest, his sweeper and his changeup. So if you this is all free. You go to Baseball Savant, you do a search. Which left-handed Phillies hit the sweeper and the changeup for power the most? It's Kyle Schwarber. The answer's always going to come up Kyle Schwarber. So I think he's a guy, among other left-handed hitting Phillies, that could have a good night tonight.
Yep, and I know this will piss you off. Schwarber is plus 180 and Judge is plus 140 to hit a home run.
That is it's the hardest thing to do in sports. You're going to give me 180 for a homer. Forget it. I'd advocate somebody playing the 1.5 total bases before that. It's crap.
Yeah. Yeah. So we couldn't get you on soon enough. You'd like Churio to hit a home run, and he went deep.
Oh.
How about some other guys that could rake tonight?
There are a handful of guys right now that are just piping red hot, and Churio's one of them. The homer that he had in his first at-bat in that game, which started early, which kind of catches a lot of people off guard, makes him 18 straight that he's hit in. Sal Perez is just on this ridiculous power binge right now. He's homered in 9 of his last 13. The Royals are at home against Gavin Williams, who's probably a little underreported as being a pretty good starter. But, I mean, there's worse guys to take a flyer on. Ramon Laureano's red hot, and he's like a secret weapon against lefties, wears out lefties. He's homered in 3 of his last 4. Royce Lewis is hot, and Minnesota's at home against the Nationals. Royce Lewis is finally hot, by the way. That could be a big difference for them in trying to claw back into the race if the Tigers continue to stumble. He's 7 for his last 14. He's homered in 3 in a row. He's facing a left-hander tonight, and Mackenzie Gore. Those are the guys, like individual players, that I think are interesting. And somebody is going to homer for the Reds tonight, because they're at home against Zach Littell of the Rays, who's given up 24 homers, and most of that damage has come on the road, oddly. You'd think, in that ballpark they're playing in Tampa, you'd get knocked around a little bit more. He's made 10 starts at home, 10 on the road, double the amount of homers on the road. So somebody in that Reds lineup, you just got to pick the right guy. Is it Ellie? He hasn't homered in 25 straight. That's creeping up on a career high for him.
Wow.
Pick a lefty, and I would love Will Benson in that game, but he's batting 8th. He might only get 3 plate appearances, and if he walks in one of them, your nickel's gone.
Yeah. Any interest here in taking on a White Sox team tonight? Maybe going to war with them. I know it's the Cubs. I know it's Imanaga, but the White Sox are hitting. And what is going on with Hauser? He has like dynamite numbers, Matt.
Yeah, and that's why it's kind of a dicey thing to back him tonight. He could get traded in the 3rd inning. He could get traded right now.
Yeah.
He's on the block. So maybe a way to approach that is by looking at his unders. Outs, hits allowed, and you hope they hope they get a phone call in the 4th inning, and he's on his way to Seattle or whatever. I mean, I'm kidding about that. I don't know that you can do that, but boy, the White Sox, if some of your listeners who are out there looking for value that like betting dogs, they have really taken pretty good care of you the last week and a half.
Is there value here? Texas, 22-1 to win the American League, 9-3 last 12, averaging almost 6 runs per game. Evaldi's won 3 in a row, ERA of 0.48. Could make a move, and if I make the playoffs, I got DeGrom and Evaldi.
Yeah, I don't know that they're going to score the kind of runs. They're not going to continue scoring 6 runs a game. I love them this weekend, though. I mean, goodness, not only are they hot, they're playing a Braves team that is really close to packing it in for the winter. I mean, if they don't make moves and trade Iglesias and trade Ozuna, and you could even make a case for trading Murphy, because they love Drake Baldwin. They should be a completely different looking team after the deadline. So I love Evaldi tonight. I love the Rangers in the series. And sure, as far as value, 22-1, who else in the American League do you really trust? I mean, Toronto's hot right now. Do you trust the Yankees right now?
No.
Detroit's in a free fall. I mean, they've lost 4 in a row and 10 out of 11. They can't beat the Toronto Blue Jays. So, why not the Rangers? That's interesting.
Yeah. Didn't we see the white flag getting waved the other night by Atlanta? You have Strider going against Verlander, and Strider gets rocked. But in the meantime, I mean, Verlander's like at 70 pitches through 3 innings. He's walking the ballpark. They can't get a single hit off that guy who has struggled the entire season, and they got absolutely blasted with that matchup.
Yeah, I think there have been a few times when they've waved the white flag. I mean, they haven't been this far under 500 since 2017, which was the last year they missed the postseason. They have just endured way too many injuries from the pitching end in their starters ranks to even consider being buyers at this point. I know it's not in their DNA to wave the white flag, but I think they've done it already. They're getting Austin Riley back tonight. maybe that gives them a little false hustle sense of hope. But I'm with you. I'm on the fade train for Atlanta.
Yeah. It's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Matt Vasgersian, he's on the Progressive Guest Line, of course, does a great job at MLB Network. We saw the action get underway yesterday before the trade deadline with the Mariners going out and getting Josh Naylor. And then it comes out like, hey, they're probably still the front runners to get Suarez. Would you agree with that take? And then how many other big names do you think are going to, like, you probably brought up the Rangers. Is there a team that we should, like, focus on right now to maybe grab a future on because you think they're going to make a big move?
Well, Ryan McMahon, him going to the Yankees kind of thins out the field of potential suitors for Suarez. And I know that the Reds would love to have him back. Isn't it interesting that two of the teams he's played for in the past are leaders in the clubhouse right now to retain his services again? I mean, he is a wildly popular guy in the room. We know that when he gets hot, he can carry a roster. But if you look at the standings, I don't know that there's somebody that can make a flashy, splashy set of ads and really help themselves that much. If Dylan Cease goes to Boston, I guess maybe on opening day, if you told me that was going to happen, I'd be more excited about it now because he's been really inconsistent this year. Can somebody catch the Tigers? I don't think so. Like Kansas City started to hit this month, but if they sell pitching, I don't think they stay in the race either. So I don't know. To answer your question, Mitch, I don't know that there's anybody that's going to change their trajectory that much with this deadline. It's going to be the good teams getting a little better and sharpening up edges where they're dull.
All right. Do you have any other angles tonight for us to maybe consider?
I think Toronto is just I got a hard time getting in front of that train. Like they're just absolutely rolling. They boat raced Detroit yesterday. I think that's a side that I'd be interested in tonight. And again, somebody's going to homer in Cincy against Zach Littell. You just got to pick the right guy. And again, you can get on Baseball Savant. It's a slider and a sinker that have been hit the hardest. So if you search which Reds, left-handed hitting Reds specifically, hit the slider and the sinker the best, maybe that's the answer. And Benson's one of them. Again, I just have a problem advocating a guy that hits eighth to hit a homer because he's going to have fewer chances.
Sure. Like if he was batting top half of the lineup, let's say he was at cleanup tonight, would you say absolutely you're betting him?
Yeah. If I can get closer to guaranteeing 4 plate appearances for somebody like that, like he still might get it. Like they might work up such a big number that everybody bats 5 times in that lineup. But in the 8th spot, it's tough. It's tough. The note that you had, Pauly, on the Astros giving up the first run is interesting. And, look, they're at home.
Yeah.
The A's are going to bat first tonight. Is anybody really that sold on Ryan Gusto, the starter tonight for the Astros? That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. 15 games in a row. That's nuts. I'm with you on that one.
I could be talked into that one, too, for sure. That's pretty interesting.
Very good.
You know what I thought, what else was interesting? The series price on the Red Sox Dodgers series. Because, look, the eyeball test is it's just Dodgers, whoever they play. But look at the 3 pitching matchups. It's the Red Sox have their 3 best guys, and I looked at that series price, and actually the Red Sox are slight favorites there, which I thought was interesting. But we're buying that pitching matchup.
Thanks,
angle.
buddy. Have a great weekend.
You got it. See you guys.
Thank you.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
One game in action today, Major League Baseball, 25th anniversary of what was Miller Park when they went away from the old County Stadium in Milwaukee. Brewers, Marlins, Peralta, 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 walks, 9 Ks, 98 pitches, yanked him. Ashby comes in out of the bullpen right away. Double by the Marlins. Runner on. Second, nobody out. They do a sack bunt.
What is this?
And by the way, looked like the foot was off the bag at first.
What is this, 1986?
I know.
Come on, man.
Give away an out. And then, what the hell happened here, Pauly? There was a sacrifice with that bunt, and then the guy on third, there was a comebacker to Ashby. Is that what happened?
Yeah, he snagged it, and then they got him in a rundown coming home.
And then that was it.
Yep.
So, like the threat here, there's now a runner on first with 2 outs, but they were absolutely threatening here in this inning, and now that's almost going bye-bye.
Well, let me give you the in play, because relievers ERA in July, 2 of the top 3 teams going at it right here. So your total is 4.5. Over -160. But these teams have been phenomenal with the bullpen ERA in this month.
Well, here's the thing. Deadlocked at 1 right now. I hate for a game like this to go to extras. When you're looking at under 4.5, right? That's your angle here.
Yeah, 2-2, you're cooked.
And then all of a sudden, it doesn't matter. I mean, with the ghost runner, each team might score 3 runs. Who knows? Right around there. So 2-2 call right now to the Marlins. Brewers were huge favorites in this game. Of course, it was Peralta going, so they had to be. But I think a little bit too high. As you pointed out, Quantrill's been like the number 1 guy ROI in Major League Baseball the entire year.
That's right. A lot of props tonight. Matty V's right. It's a great card. As I mentioned, Ohtani hitting 500 against Bayo. See if he can go deep again. Perez, 445 against Williams. Crawford, 400 against Soriano. Rodriguez, 460. Marte is hitting 460. And Chisholm, 467 against Walker. The home run props, although you're not going to get a lot of value. But Judge, 4 bombs career against Walker. Schwarber and Harper could go deep as well, but the plus 180, mercy. That one's tough. And how about Kurtz? 488. 15 extra base hits last 11 games for the A's. The run he continues to be
he's going to steal the American League Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
You know, Wilson, like 2 weeks ago, in that range, was 1,100 to win it.
Was he?
Yeah, maybe even higher at some spots.
Incredible.
Yep.
Right? That is wild. So you can play his props as he's been locked in as well. And 2 other unique scheduling spots. Matt mentioned how bad Littell's been, and you can play some Reds players. 19 of the next 22 are on the road for the Rays.
Oh, yeah, this has been something that was circled before the year started, basically.
And they lost last night. That started a 13-game homestand for the Angels.
13. Wow. Hello. Okay. All right.
So that's something to monitor with the Angels and something with Tampa Bay. 19 of 22 on the road, and his price. I think Matt also made a good point. The Red Sox have won 7 in a row at home, outscoring their opponents 43-18. And you can find $1.10 on them to win the series against the Dodgers. Crochet is only $1.35 tomorrow against Kershaw. And look at the other pitching matchups on Sunday.
And by the way, it's not like the Dodgers have been in any great shape. They were super fortunate to steal that last game against the Twins the other day.
Yeah. And so, I don't think Mookie's playing, as I understand it. There's a personal issue.
Okay.
A personal issue. So, not that he's playing well. But
you probably want him in the lineup if you're the Red Sox.
Yeah, but he has,
the Red Sox here.
Yeah, he has done well against Boston going back, but I don't think they have him in the lineup tonight.
All right, so you want to look at a team with their division wins. You can get this at DraftKings and other sports books as well. A team that I've been betting on cross-sport parlays to win their division, to be the number 1 seed in the AFC, even have the most wins in all of the entire league. The Buffalo Bills division win total is 4.5 at DK. It is juiced at -135.
Yeah.
They get a couple of these teams right out of the gates, right? Not week 1, because they host Baltimore in week 1. After that, they're playing the Jets and Dolphins in back-to-back weeks. Now, they do play the Jets in week 18.
Yeah, right.
Here's the thing, right? You could say, well, the game might not mean anything. I can come back and just go right back at you and say, what if it does absolutely mean they need the game to get the 1 seed?
Or the 2. Doesn't matter. Absolutely. Right? So I really like Bills over 4.5 division wins. It got you last year as they had that game. But look what happened, though. Joe Milton played the game of his life to win that game. So, yes, Buffalo didn't play people, but Buffalo still should have won the game, even how good their roster is in the backups. And Milton just had looked like Brady out there. So I'm not that concerned about Week 18, but we mentioned this briefly yesterday, and he'll probably get to it next week when he's on talking Mountain West. I think it's a little bit of Boise State thing here as well. For me to lose this bet, I'm going to maybe twice. I'm going to have to lose the double-digit favorite. That could be in play here, because Boise State's win total is 9.5, and Paul Stone has them a double-digit favorite in 11 games, and a 3-touchdown favorite in half their games. So in order for you to lose that bet, you're going to have to lose 2 games as a double-digit favorite. And I think the same thing's in play here with the Bills, that they could run right through that division. I'm not buying the Patriots hype. We know the Jets are going to be down. And Miami's looks like a disaster. Remember, and then those are really cause for concern. Interesting quotes from Tua about Tyreek Hill's got to work his way back into the good graces here of everyone after he said he wanted out and started pouting after that loss to the Jets in Week 18, that it takes time. So if everyone loves the Dolphins win total under, and you can't like the Jets at all, and certainly the love affair with New England is outrageous to me, that I'm going to have to lose maybe 2 games as a double-digit or more than a touchdown favorite. Bills over 4.5 division wins, AFC East minus 140.
All right, so I'm looking at that Thursday night game on September 18th when they're hosting the Dolphins. They're 8.5-point favorites in that game. They're 12.5. Well, that's not a division game. They're 8.5 as well. That's the game against the Patriots. That's also a primetime game, I believe. That's Sunday Night Football. They're laying 8.5 in that game. So we have the same power rating here on the Dolphins as we do the Patriots. Okay. I'm looking at other...
Are you talking the Week 15?
No, these are early.
They're only 8.5 at home in New England?
Yeah. Week 5.
Wow.
And by the way, look at this now. They are... that 3-game stretch to begin. So they're at the Jets Week 2. They play 3 consecutive home games. Dolphins on a Thursday night, Saints at home, then Patriots on a Sunday night. They're laying 5.5 in Miami later in the year, Week 10. And then they get the Patriots in Week 15.
Yeah.
And the Jets in the final week of the year.
Yeah, that's the one game that would yeah.
They're laying.
You're right. That's the good comeback. What I could be playing for something.
Sure. Week 15 at New England, they're laying 4.5. What do you make of that?
This is crazy. This is crazy town. Come on.
Yeah.
What do we?
We had Chuck Edel on the program yesterday.
He made great points on the Patriots.
Yeah.
Calm down. Calm down.
He said under 8.5.
They don't have weapons. They're putting May in the Hall of Fame already. We did this already with Mac Jones. It's and I like Vrabel too, but come on. 6-1 Coach of the Year?
That's unbettable,
This
Paul.
is ridiculous.
That's like betting home run props tonight on Judge.
And so I'd say the same thing about Ben Johnson too, but yeah. I think they run roughshod over this division.
I mean, the separation here between the Buffalo Bills and every other team in the division is just, you have to love their path. I've said this now for weeks on the show. Minus 250 to win the division still should be $5. Mm-hmm. Even with an injury to Allen, to me, they're still favored to win the division. And if you go back and look at last year, this team was an absolute machine on offense.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even have that great of weapons.
Right.
It doesn't matter. They scored 30-plus points in like all those games. Remember, they scored back-to-back.
The Buffalo.
40-plus.
The Detroit game.
Yeah, they went to the Rams. Yeah. They got outscored in a shootout. Then they went back home, and then they had to go back to Detroit the same week. And now Detroit was without a bunch of defensive players at that time, but they scored in the 40s again in that game. I would say that Cook probably had a career year. I doubt he's going to get to 16 rushing touchdowns again this season, probably not even close to that. But Allen's a monster.
And made some moves to fix the defense, too.
Yeah, right.
Totally agree. Want to know where the money's really going? Unlike other sources, our splits come straight from Circa and DraftKings Sportsbook, giving the insight into where the sharp action's landing. People love the betting splits, can't get enough of it. Join now. Little as $9.99 for your first month. VSiN.com/subscribe. See the percentage of bets versus percentage of handle on every game across every major sport, helping you make smarter, more informed bets. Get VSiN's exclusive betting splits as little as $9.99 for your first month. VSiN.com/subscribe.
Brewers Marlins right now, bottom of the 6th, tied at 1. Yelich at the plate. I think he fouled that off, didn't he, to survive here? But there are 2 outs right now, and like you said, the total was 4.5. That's going to keep creeping down as we get closer, tied at 1. But Marlins they're feisty, man. They've been good now for a while. Up next, we'll talk to Scott Sanders. He's been listening to VSiN since the beginning. Recently took a vacation to Bora Bora after cashing out several cross-sport parlays. He's also made deep runs in Survivor here at Circa before. We'll ask him what he's looking at for more cross-sport parlays coming up next.